of the Vendor Building Society, VBS, is a sad indictment of the existence of those amongst us who harbor a corrupted worldview, who believe that they have arrived and all they want is to capturing our movement, the government and its SOEs, in order to manipulate our basic wealth and resources in pursuit of self-enrichment. It is in this regard the ANC Veterans League makes its statements as an unequivocal pronouncement of its stance to all sundry and make recommendation as our contribution to the work of the President of the ANC, the NEC Collective, and all citizens of our beautiful country who tirelessly work to advance the ideals of a just and equitable, non-racial and caring society. In June 2018, a few days before the 9th conference of the province of the ANC in Limpopo, the ANC Veterans League initiated a dialogue that encouraged delegates to use the conference as an opportunity to take stock of the performance of the ANC as a revolutionary organization that is also a ruling party and a leader of society. It was expressly indicated that such an opportunity was not to be taken lightly, because it is only through robust discussions that delegates can engage in honest introspection on the ability and capacity of the prospective leadership to lead our people and the ANC. The ANC Veterans League warned that the business of conference must not only focus on elections of leadership, but conference should emerge with resolutions to renew and rebuild the organization. Delegates were advised to subject the incoming leadership to the ANC guiding document through the eye of the needle. However, the desperation by some who wish to hold on to power with the sole purpose of using positions of leadership in the ANC to further their personal interests prevailed. It is not surprising that some are now implicated in a great heist. The ANC Veterans League is aware of allegations that money used to buy some delegates was from the proceeds of the loot of the same bank that was established with the noble aim of serving burial societies and ordinary poor citizens of the province, VBS. This came at a great cost to the poor and the marginalized, and to the deterrent of the ANC in Limpopo. The matter surrounding the VBS was brought to our attention by members of SAMO, who requested the ANC Veterans League to intervene, as some of its members were being victimized for exposing the VBS matter. The ANC Veterans League the ANC Veterans League became highly concerned when it was informed that several municipalities in Limpopo had illegally invested taxpayers' money that was meant for service delivery in violation of the MFMA, which is the Municipal Financial Management Act, and against the advice of the National Treasury that mutual banks do not meet investment requirements as stipulated in the MFA. The seriousness of the matter was exemplified by a pronouncement by the governor of the Reserve Bank that municipality had no business in investing in a mutual bank, as they were fully aware that such action were in contravention of the law, that depositors were at the risk of losing their investments due to looting and collusion by bank officials. municipal officials and political office bearers in our own organization is a sad reality that we face today. In an effort to get answers, the ANC Veterans League visited King Tony Limpopo Ramabulana as the royal house was being cited to be amongst the beneficiaries of the proceeds of illegal activities that were unfolding at VBS. The king asserted that he had merely received gifts and was not a beneficiary of the pillaging as alleged. The ANC Veterans League further penned a letter to the provincial secretary, Sobit Lekanyani. These concerns were raised, and therefore the ANC Veterans League recommended that all mayors who had invested in a scheme in violation of the law, even after warning from the National Treasury, must be recalled and subjected to disciplinary procedures. It was further recommended that any ANC official who were found to have used their positions to influence the municipalities to invest and had benefited from such transactions must therefore step down from their positions with immediate effect. To date, the letter has not been acknowledged by the Secretary. The ANC Veterans League, in no uncertain terms, herewith indicate our disappointment with the Provincial Executive Committee of our own organization for failing to take appropriate and timeless action to deal with matter decisively. There are facts. The municipality had invested service delivery money in contravention to the law. Municipalities were warned by National Treasury but failed or simply ignored these warnings and neglected to recover taxpayers' money. There were indications of collusion between members of the PMTs, municipality officials, bank officials, and some politically connected persons and political office bearers. Mayors are deployed by the ANC. Regional leadership is implicated by the forensic report. Notwithstanding that the investigators' report to the Prudential Authority on the looting and pillaging of the Wenda Building Society is interim and only expose the tip of the iceberg into the deliberate misstatement and fraudulent manipulation and cover-ups of the complexity of which that up to now make it next to impossible to obtain a clear picture of the precise amount that has been looted from the VBS by these captors. We believe and are comforted that the curator will ultimately be able to ascertain accurately with precision the amounts that everyone and all of the participants in the looting received, to show that all and every one of them are held to account. The National Integrity Committee intervention as the seniority of the two implicated officials of the ANC might While we respect the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, the time has come in a country that has been gripped by rampant corruption, and in an effort to restore ethical behavior and trust in our organization, we must insist that individuals holding leadership positions and are facing allegations of corruption must not be allowed to lead as if it is business as usual. Such individuals must recuse themselves from the position of leadership until they have been presented with an opportunity to vindicate themselves from the accusations of perceived corruption and theft. We need to make it categorically clear that the ANC Veterans League has an obligation as the custodian of the values and ethics of the government, of the movement, to hold comrades and members accountable, despite their positions in the ANC. It will be the express obligation of the ANC Veterans League to ensure that the oldest liberation movement on the continent will remain relevant and true to the cause of the NDR and free of corruption unless we are found wanting in the action against thieves and corrupt officials. Those that have been implicated by the report for this cancerous crime must be judged in their personal capacity, not as the ANC. They cease to be members of the ANC at the first sign of corruption, theft, and any outright behavior. This is our mission at this junction in defending the people's movement. Any corporate implicated in corrupt activities or thieving ways by virtue hereof nullifies the possibility and consequently the ability to lead the organization or government. We will not do justice to our people if we do not express ourselves on the rise of corrupt activities in our province. While we are aware of the public outcry with regard to these issues of gross undermining and gross manipulation of the procurement processes at the Departments of Health, Public Works, Education, local and district municipalities. The individuals that are implicated, both politicians and civil servants, must be investigated and called to account. Our Premier must act decisively on corruption or step aside and commit the ANC to the total emancipation of corruption and untimely create distance between the ANC and the individual that perpetrate acts of criminality or in violation of the constitution of the ANC. It stands to reason that the systematic corruption in our province and local seats of government is a precursor and training ground for the great bank heist, as is evident in the VBS saga. In support of the recommendations contained in the forensic report, we further recommend that the National Integrity Committee intervention, as is noted of the two implicated officials of the ANC, might undermine the integrity of the organization and bring the movement into disrepute. The Deputy Chairperson, Comrade Zelani, and Provisional Treasurer, Danny Mosiza, must step aside pending finalization of internal investigation. Further, Comrade Florence should be relieved of the responsibility as Provincial Chairperson of SALGA pending of the outcome of the investigation. Both the ANC and government should investigate the circumstances around the alleged meeting that took place at the ranch, where municipalities and its functionaries were allegedly being convinced and solicited to invest huge sums of money with VBS. To determine who convened the gathering, on what authority, what the purpose of such a meeting was, who was invited, and what was discussed. Those who attended this meeting must make the information available for public consumption. The failure by those who attended said meeting to disclose information must be subject to further investigation and subsequent remedial action. All affected mayors of implicated municipalities, municipal managers, chief financial officers, and the MNCs for finance and councillors, where decision was taken by council, must immediately be placed on precautionary suspension pending finalization of investigation led by the Provincial Treasury and Coxstar. A multidisciplinary team should be constituted to investigate the saga and subject all perpetrators to the rule of law as a matter of agency. Preservation orders should be secured as soon as possible in order to recoup the losses. The multidisciplinary team working with the South African Council of Churches, the Interfaith Financial Formation, to invade the possible use of the spirit of Ambassador Church, to which Comrade Florence Razulani is affiliated, in alleged acts of money laundering. Those are alleged to be corrupted, and the corruptees cannot be allowed to infiltrate places of worship. In conclusion, the ANC Veterans League confirms its resolve without reservation to the never again mentality, and are committed to working hard to inculcate a firm culture of corruption-free South Africa, and therefore commit ourselves to continue to play its vanguard role, to vigorously coach the ANC to apply its policies where necessary, apply the law without fear, favor, or prejudice. We herewith make a clarion call to politicians, officials, businesses, and society to come with any information related to any acts of corruption and other vacancies, in order that we may deliver our people from poverty, inequality, and joblessness. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Marule. That was our media statement, gentlemen. I don't know if Dade Rashaka, the Provincial Secretary, and the Deputy Chairperson, if you want to make any additions or just say something?
No, I don't think.
No, just it's right here. Yeah, it's like.
Thank you very much. So I don't think that it is necessary to add. We can just proceed maybe without any addition. Because it is clear.
I just want to make sure. Member here, it seems like you want to say something.
Oh, thank you. As spokesperson, I think the statement by our chairperson have said a mouthful. All we are very aware, our concern is to prevent our glorious movement not to be dragged on the mud. Because now all these things that happens, people are using it in the name of the ANC. And we are saying no, we will defend our glorious movement all as we are until the end of our lives. That's what we are concerned, and that's the reason we are here, to defend our movement. And nobody should use our movement to try and use it for their own elections, to try and smear us, the glorious movement that we love dearly, that we fought for, to try and grab the elections. We say no.
Thank you very much, Wabluba. At this juncture, I'll allow members of the media to ask any questions that you may have for the veterans. And please, when you speak, tell us which media house you represent and your name. I'll take yourself and yourself and yourself in that order, and then we'll take the next. Let me take.
Good afternoon. My name is Puti Rajina. I want you to be very clear on this. Are you of a view, are you suspecting that the money looted from VBS was used to buy delegates to vote others in the PBC? and I need you to make it clear so that we all understand.
It's been alleged. It's always said it's been alleged that some of the proceeds of that money were used in buying delegates. It's an allegation, it's an alleged.
Can we take that?
Mashidi Sadiq from African Times. I also need to be clear. You mentioned two names, especially Denim Caesar and Florence Razilani, who is the mayor of Bank. Are you saying that they should step down as leaders of the ANC, or are you saying that if they are found guilty in the court of law, then they should step down? What are you saying about those two?
What I'm saying, they need to recuse themselves. Right now, proceed with investigations. We're not going to make it pending after the thing, but it's there. The report says that, but we're asking that it should happen as the ANC.
Because it's only recommendations, right? The report is recommendations. They've not been found.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that
they must recuse themselves.
They must recuse any activities of the ANC.
Can we take, before I take you, so let me take the names that the ones that I've acknowledged already. I've acknowledged 4 people, only 2 spoke. So, yes, you may ask. No, it's fine, you may ask. That's what I'm saying, that can we follow that order?
Thank you very much. Based on, I heard Mr. Marule talking about during the time, talking about the build-up to the provincial conference, which took place in, if I'm not mistaken. And indeed, you invited us to give us your expectations about the leadership that you're going to elect. So I just want to find out to what extent are you betrayed as the veterans, because it is clear that you mentioned that the leadership that will come victorious from that conference should act collectively or as a collective, but it seems like they are acting as a collective for all the wrong reasons, because now they're implicated in the great bank heist, which is VBS. So to what extent are you betrayed? And looking at the collective measures, what are you going to do? Because clearly you have already, if you did vote for these 2 who are implicated, they will be gone. So in the future, how are you going to correct this? Thank you.
Well, to me, it's very simple. It's not about the elections, who got voted what. It's how it was conducted, and what happened. I was at a conference. I'm speaking from experience that I was in a conference following the process, which most of them were never followed properly. And what we're saying now, we need to do a house cleaning in this organization. That's what we're saying to you, that it can no longer happen, that this continues all the time, that we have people representing us actually who should not be people representing us. After seeing all this here, how do you end up having people like this amongst our midst? And that's what we're saying.
In addition to that, we are also saying from time to time that the manner in which we are choosing leadership need to be changed, particularly the slate method of elections should be changed, because there is no leadership that can be obtained genuinely when you are following slate method, because it's a matter of friends joining up together and be presented as leaders, as if the people have chosen these people, and which is not like that. People are going as a group. We are saying there are some flaws in that, and as the oldest organization politically in Africa, perhaps, and the whole world, I'm sure. Good ways of conducting elections, choosing our leaders, should be found. If we haven't got them now, but let's exercise our thoughts to come up with the best method of choosing leadership. We are heading to that.
Thank you, comrades. I would like to contribute to some of the problems we are facing. I think some of these mayors we are having and all these corrupt people that are involved in this VBS, they must take an example of Mr. Nene. They must simply just resign. They must not be pushed behind to say, you are going down, you must go. They must take an example of Mr. Nene, the former finance minister. He went straight there. Today, the only commission is investigating. I feel by so doing, we'll be doing justice correctly, because we're going to get more of what has taken place. Why these people, they have deposited the money, especially the mayors in all these municipalities, they must not be pushed. That is my feeling. They must simply resign, and the commission invite them to come and care, to say who told them to deposit that money. Because nobody knows why did they decide to deposit this money where they were told it's not necessary. Thank you.
I recognize yourself and the gentleman. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Manuel Twinda. I'm representing NHFM and Choice FM. My question is based on what will happen if what you're demanding doesn't go your way. Why? Because I mean, in your statement there's a paragraph where you have mentioned that previously you did advise or recommended to the secretary of the party in the province. Till today, nothing has happened. You haven't got the answer, no acknowledgement to the letter. And to me, it shows an element of defiance, or maybe if I'm not using the correct word, it shows an element which says you are being undermined or you are not being respected. And therefore, if it happens again, because I mean, it's possible that history might repeat itself where those recommendations that you are making now, or those demands that you are making now, might not be met. What is it that you're going to do moving forward? And again, I want to find out from you as well, how do you interpret this theme of the secretary not coming back to you while you have recommended or suggested before to him? Thank you.
Well, to be very straightforward, it's either a lack of respect or defying. It is regarding old people, the dreamers. They can't be demanding statements and things like that. As a professional, when you write me a letter, I have to acknowledge the receipt of your letter. So I would expect the same would happen in this office here. People must acknowledge we are in receipt of your letter, and the matter you've raised will be attended to at a later stage. That's how it works. So why it is not being answered, I don't know. He's going to have to tell us why it took him so long from July until this happened. Because in the early stages when we cautioned him about this matter, why didn't they act on it? I don't know why they didn't act on it. And what is going to happen if it's not been taken? Well, we're all fighters. We know how to deal with it, but not physically, mind you. I'm talking about how to outsmart people. If this collective here decides that nobody's going to take any measures, we're going to open a court case, we'll open a charge. We go to the police station, it's right here. Open a case. If you are not going to do what we're asking you to do, we're going to have to do that, because when people complain to you and you don't pay attention to it, what other alternatives do you have? There's the law, isn't it? Yeah, go to the law, assist, the courts assist. But we don't want to go to that extent at the moment. We're expecting the grown-up people to understand the need to have done that, to answer the letter. Had they answered the letter, had they answered it, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. I'd be talking a different language with you, or completely. Because we're advising them. This is what is happening. After our visit with the king, we need to look into this matter. It's very urgent. Now, if you ignore that, it tells me something else. It could be incompetence, I don't know. To me, it was very unprofessional for where I'm sitting.
So, but are you disappointed by this lack of respect?
In today's times, people don't respect you. I am disappointed that as a senior member of this organization, tell somebody something, he's not doing anything. That tells me something about that person. Does he belong here? Where does he belong? Because in ANC we have a culture of respect. I grew up in the ANC, and those of you who are ANC members, you respect the leadership, not because I'm old. I'm a senior member of this organization in this particular building, including him. So that's my take on it.
To add on that, we are the ANC Veterans League in Limpopo. We have our seniors as well. We are a structure in the province. We also have the national ANC Veterans League, the national ANC Veterans League, which we have handed over the copy to this for this, and we also have the Integrity Committee. I think you saw the recommendation, who are also our seniors. Fortunately, the chairperson, who is one of our own, George Mashamba, is chairing this Integrity. But I'm sure where he is also is very worried, because he comes from the very same wounded province. So we have safeguarded all the areas that we work as a team, and we know very well that they will be very much concerned as our senior veterans as well. Again,
I want you also to see it in this view, that a journey of national democratic revolution, it's on, and through doing this, democracy will be imparted to members of the society, including members of the ANC. The more we have events in the country, at the end of that event, a lot of people are politicized. So, hence, national democratic revolution was put in our schemes of things. At the end, it will be known that some of the things which we're doing were not done properly, and the ANC has tried to change its own ways to improve its way of doing things. So you should also see it in this view. This is my view. At the end of this, few people will have got an education that things are not done properly, and we are trying to change our own things by our own selves. And the preamble of the Veterans League constitution, the ANC Veterans League's constitution, tells people that members of this league have acquired a lot of knowledge in the running of things of the ANC. And if they could then practically move around, a lot of people will gather knowledge of how things are done by the ANC. So that is one of the aim or the purpose of what has been written here. At the end, something would have been achieved. For your own information, we're not running the elections properly ever since we started. So we are trying to reiterate that as Veterans League members, that we need to correct our ways of doing things. Thank you.
It's Mike Maringa from SABC TV News. Chairperson, you indicated that in build-up to this, you had a meeting with His Majesty King Tolim and Pepurama Black, who indicated to you that these were just mere gifts. Were you at the time aware that the figures are at 17 million? And also, do you feel cheated? Was the king dishonest with you in his discussion? The last one being that you have tried to engage the leadership of the ANC in the province. Nothing has been done so far. Are you in any way trying to escalate? Will you try to escalate this to the national office so that the two people that we have said that they should step aside with immediate effect?
Well, talking of the chief, I wouldn't say the chief was lying. He told me what he told me, that he was given gifts, but the amount was never mentioned. I just saw in the report that it is 17 million. So it's a different story altogether. So I receive information, you give me information. I'm not an investigator. You give me what I ask you, where can we help? We read about you in the papers, we see on TV, we see our people in the streets sleeping there. That's our concern as Veterans League, and that's a statement we made. We are concerned. And Vembe is the biggest constituency of the ANC, mind you. And this is why we're concerned about that. But coming to, I forgot what you said again. Can you repeat that question again?
The ANC is reluctant in the province to address your request to have the two people removed. Are you in any way planning to escalate this matter to the national office so that it can be expedited?
Obviously, it has to be. If you can't get it through here, it goes to national. But mind you, I must also remind you, we have a report we sent to national on the conference of the 9th, and also mentioned the wound in ANC caused by VBS. And that report was sent to the president and sent to the Secretary General, and also sent to the Integrity Committee. So we're covered there. So if they do not do what they're supposed to be doing, they have a mandate. We gave them a mandate to attend to some of these things. If they're not attended, there's other alternatives, which this collective will sit down, deliberate on it. For the fact that We have leadership at a provincial level doesn't act on matters like this one, which of importance. It leaves a question mark on my part. What kind of people are representing us, and who claim that they are leading the province? And from our observation, the province is not being properly led. And if we have to go to the extent not getting any results out of this, we go somewhere else. We don't get the results up there, we'll come with another alternative. It's an endless journey.
Maybe protests or matches that we have seen in the past when you wanted the previous leadership to step aside?
No, I don't think we're beyond this protest. I've done that during my student days. So at the moment, I think I won't be marching around fighting. You see, you must start understanding. We are not fighting against ANC. I'm an ANC member. You've got to understand that very, very clearly. It's individuals within the ANC. We need to remove us to leave.
That was the ANC Veterans League in Limpopo giving a media briefing on the VBS scandal, and basically their message is that anyone that's implicated in Limpopo in the ANC should step aside while their innocence or guilt is proven, because they're taking this matter very seriously, and they say that it's denigrating the name of the ANC, which has gone through so much already. Well, that's a wrap from us on Point. SA Today coming up at the top of the hour. Have a pleasant weekend.
Buildings. And see who is who was doing who to whom. So, in that sense, this leadership here takes this thing very seriously, because we sacrifice to get to where you are. So we cannot allow people coming in with a mission of how much can I can make myself out of this organization, while people died for it, some were incarcerated for it. So we cannot allow, as long as you're alive, we're alive, we'll keep you busy. Those who are in government and those who are in the ANC hierarchy, we are not afraid to challenge the hierarchy. We have challenged before this league here the former president, that he was the wrong person to lead us, and we are right. And we're saying again, we are right. What has happened here should not happen again. Never ever should ever again, because ANC at the moment is in the limelight. You talk about this, let's not talk about ANC stealing a bank. Let's talk about rooting these people from the ANC who stole the bank. Thank you.
Yes, let me take the second round. And yourself, sitting there.
No, thank you. My question would be, as the ANC Veterans League, I believe you also on the representation in the ANC PSC of the province. So I want to find out if this matter has been raised by your honorable self as the Veterans League in the PSC during your meeting, and if it has been held, and if it's not being held, are you going to raise this in the PSC meeting?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Since this PEC was elected, we've been having problems in accepting that actually we're sitting with people who are implicated in things. We have a problem sitting with somebody we know actually is implicated in something. You know, and that's where the problem comes in, because I cannot just say, who am I talking to in this PEC? Who am I talking to? You know, am I talking to the very same people I'm accusing? Or my alleged that they've done this and this and this. So I cannot be expected to go and sit there and endorse something which is already wrong, which I'm condemning. I'm condemning what has happened. Now for me to go and sit there, it'd be a hypocrisy. That's what it's going to be.
So what do you mean? I see you're not going to attend the PEC meeting.
Oh no, we will attend to something where it comes in. We attend PEC meetings. Yeah, we do. We're ex-officials in a PEC. We're a structure on our own. So we raise issues in PEC, PWC. We do those things. But whereby when you have a presiding officer in PWP who's heading that thing, and you know his person is not the right person, how do you deal with it? Are you going to sit there and listen for the sake of listening that you are there? But you know very well in your heart that person is guilty as they come. So it's as simple as that. We have moral standing, some of us. Integrity to maintain. That's where we're coming from. These people are here, they have integrity, which was earned over a period of years. So to sit in front of a group of people who are going to lie to you, is lies we don't like either. Claiming to have not done this and not have done that, while you know they've done it. I hope I've answered you.
Yeah. This one. You know this. Some of us here were above age. And we've been in the for a long time. You remember when Franklin was addressing the legislation, he was 89. He said, what is happening now is not what we fought for. I've been in the ANC since 1952. But what you are doing now, I think now we fought for. I'm a commander, MSL commander. When we were fighting, we never thought that we would get so many shifts within ourselves.
Amongst us.
And a mistake you made, or our people made, when we came back, they didn't take MK people and put them in the government. They put their friends, which stage you don't know. You know, you go to any, right, let's say you go to Bridge. Look at the people who are working there. What they are doing is not what the ANC was saying. It's what they want to do. And I've talked to say that because you don't have people in take any MK people and put them in the borders, they will do the way. But you don't go to bed, everybody is stealing. Everybody. When a person comes in, they put the ear to say, how much do we have? How much? Now, we are corrupt from the border up to the parliament. Now, but it's not the way ANC people like myself. I can't do it. I have no money. I can't steal. And what you did that this thing happened, we feel very painful because I can't steal a bank, something in the bank, because it's not my mind. I found it there. And then the tribal chefs, they form parties to have names to get money, and they get money. But if a person, I don't know, appointed trade union, he's already corrupt, or he must get money. He knows where to get money.
You must keep on shaking him.
Now, but this thing, more to us, it's very painful. If you know what you are doing to us is bad. Because we can't stay still anything going. We are not fixed. And the ANC is not what these people are doing. Each one come from this house and do this thing alone. Yeah? So I just wanted to tell you that we don't talk. If we are doing this to us at our age, we will die when age is no more there. Because what you are doing, you want to kill ANC. For who? Not for a railway to fight for it, for the law. Don't tell these people that the old people are very angry with what you are doing. What you are doing is not ANC. Okay, you are a member of ANC, but you can't measure, but you don't know what ANC says. You do your own things. Thank you.
Thank you. But how about they are getting?
My name is from Limpopo Online. Just 2 things. The first thing I want to be clear, because I don't have the statement, so about Florence Razilani, she holds 3 positions. She's the deputy chair of the ANC, she's a mayor, Yabembe, she's chair, Yasalka. So I'm not sure whether in your statement you're asking her to step aside on the 3, because I have talked about Salga, but I've never did talk about the mayor. I just needed a clarity about that, for the simple reason that she's the real face of the ANC in Bembe, and the people of Bembe are the worst losers in this episode. I don't understand how you're going to, after this, let a person like that let her go to Bembe with an ANC t-shirt to go and say vote for the ANC. When not only have they lost money, ya municipality. But those old people who are shining banana and they invested coffee, yes, they have lost money, which apparently has gone into the hand. So I think that's something that's not difficult. But the second thing quickly, I've listened to the chairperson and the secretary of the ANC in this province, The position that you have taken today radically differs with the positions that I've heard from the two. So are you not going on a collision course with your PC? Thank you.
Well, it was very simple. We're not implicated. We're not implicated, so we can say what we want to say. We have no fear of anything or any repercussions coming to us. Those who are saying a different story, they have to tell us why are they so slow in reacting in what's been happening. They should have reacted the day this thing happened. And this is what has happened. No, Razilani is holding 3 positions. We're saying a mayor's position, isn't it? She's a mayor. And we just said they must be recalled, including her. She must be recalled. We're saying all the 8 mayors of municipalities, the CFOs, the MMs, they must be recalled. It doesn't excuse her. And also, that means she also going to be not be the person to be the face of the ANC for these elections. We cannot allow that, and we cannot accept it as Veterans League. After what is the outcome of this report, it's going to be very difficult for us to accept that. So that's an honest fact. That's how we look at it.
Comrades, we are saying, okay, those piloting ANC Mara, okay, they must step down. We don't care to be elected for what position what. So long as we do the ANC Mara, you step down now, not tomorrow. I will get about how to say, I will go with you just not push the organization. Organization. Okay? Organization today we go to the Maraga, who will to get the Mutu Pelang Havozi, by the vendor, burial society, Yabake Kulubamundende, Babas Nansilo, the poor of the poor arrested. One out traffic, we just a diamond, or rather maybe the hotel and other things that you buy, or a big car, what you go to drive. I tell a driver to Falabarina, Baraba Silo, Krajalan Dahana Harala, Pilwella Horbanoko, Baba. Today, tomorrow, Batamana, like today, when I go to the channel, you step aside. Emelagato, on you. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade journalist here around. Just one question to you people. I would like to know what actually ANC must do about this corrupt element within it. Can you, one of you, bravely stand up and tell me what must we do? I'm just now. Who can tell me what must we do as a big organization? ANC, African National Congress. But by Sinje, they're stealing, they're doing whatever they do. If you see all these elderly people around it, they suffered for this movement. They are not just here and they are not aiming any positions. But with you, comrade journalists, young journalists, I can see you all here. I would like to get one of you who's going just to give me just one question to say, ANC, do this quickly. Who can stand up there? One of you will
we want to say, all of you journalists, before, if it was not us, you should not be there. Because he was allowed only the so-called the world and other things. Others.
And drum.
The drums and song is whatever. You have been there. We didn't have only one person who was after. We need only that in the Daily Mail, then Daily Mail. Because of our fault. Today, where are you today? Today you want to corrupt a movement who put you here. That's why we are saying if it was not we should not sit in like this in this town now today. Was no one was no one can sleep in the hotel. Again, to be sleep in the hotel, you can't tell even Tabaiti or Yavenda or whatever. You can't tell about the perfect Bandustan, which was called, and they never would take them galon. You should call that government, the poor government, and talking English again. And when you ask you on the bush, underground, or government, the war government or whatever public structure. Now if you are said this is the government of the people is well equipped in military, no. So how can you have a government who doesn't protect you? Because it doesn't have a military. Who's your representative at the United Nations Security Council? No one. Or any organization of Africa, no one. But you are speaking English. But when you don't kick out those people, they are not your food. Okay. But you never do so. So today we stand up in Fort Raliwela, today when we say those young people who are the leadership of the ANC now, even you tomorrow you can be a leader, you're still our leader. Well, here, you guys, you are a leader. You are leading us. Again?
One will be clean.
Thank you.
So, I meant that.
Well, thank you very much.
We're still waiting for somebody to stand up and tell us what we should do.
Somebody stand up here because they are all leaders.
I see someone is breathing up, but we're just about to close now.
Right. Well, I wouldn't necessarily tell you what you should do, but I just want to get this assurance that do you still have hope in the ANC?
Wow.
Where lies the future of the ANC?
Well, you want me to answer that?
You want the answer for that?
No, it's an understatement.
Yeah.
Hope. We don't live on hope. We live on reality. As long as I can speak and talk and walk, I can mobilize you, which I've got the skills for. ANC will always remain. ANC has gone through uphill from its formation to this is not the first time. This is not the first time. The set is dead. We wake up, we're still there. This ANC is not going to die as long as we are here sitting in front of you telling We're going to go out for elections. You're going to see us.
Good.
You're going to see us. We'll be the ones leading. We're not going to let criminals lead us. We are taking over what belongs to us. It says right there.
Second.
Yeah, it says that. So I don't live in hope. I live in reality.
We are saying, comrades said, we didn't have the well-educated white minority oppressed in our country who was well-educated. He could not convince us. Even now, we've got some people who opposition in what we want ever. It's not easy to convince us because we know what we are doing. We're struggling and die for our country, and then we still want to say we are going to die for our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members of the media and comrades of the ANC who have joined us. I see there are a number of you here. We really appreciate your presence. You can see a media briefing with the Veterans League. It is also an opportunity to learn something. It is always a pleasure to serve with them. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of this media briefing.
SABC 404.
404. So I can watch it later on the news.
Yeah, he was on the news, this guy. Show him the picture.
I was there.
We were live too. This guy is working here.
Yeah, for me to get it was difficult. That guy was blocking me.
Sorry?
To get your shot. It was
Yeah,
you see? Today, like now.
No. I mean, later on in the news.
It will still play.
Okay.
yeah.
Shucks, I'll watch it there. Thank you.
But not the whole thing. Just
But
sound
you were the whole
sound.
thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're live the whole moment.
This was actually you were the whole thing.
Is it? Eh?
And your bullshit questions.
Who's there?
She's the group executive, is not my boss.
When?